Hi again, welcome to today's top story. I'm sure that you've heard by now there is a huge fire that started about 5 o'clock this morning on TV cameras, caught some footage of the fire. A couple of businesses, seemingly at least one, maybe two or more, were on fire this morning at that early hour across the street from the GFL Memorial Gardens. You can see the amount of smoke that was billowing out of the front of the buildings, and in the back, the flames were absolutely monstrous. We heard through the morning that some of the PUC officials had to come in and actually shut down the power because power lines had fallen in the area. They were obviously concerned about firefighters. Speaking of firefighters, they have been there on the job since 5:15 this morning in this cold, having difficulty, from what we can understand, with fire hydrants being frozen. So they've had to tackle that. They've had to be concerned about those fallen wires, and they continue to do their job. Apparently, at one point, they lifted up above the smoke and the flame and had to be directed from the ground as to where to point the fire hoses because the smoke and flames were so thick. So we certainly appreciate all of their efforts in this huge flame, and also on such a cold day. Now, people had been displaced because there are apartment buildings all along Queen Street that are above businesses. And one of the businesses, above one of the businesses, Owen Martin is a tenant there. And Owen, tell us about how you first found out there was this big fire going on.
Well, I was sleeping at my buddy's place, and I woke up and I seen a big bunch of lights and sirens and heard bodies just like running down the sidewalks and stuff like that. And then I looked out the window and there was tons of smokes, and there was flames like shooting out. They could see like the shadows of it.
So this is your buddy's apartment that you were in?
Yeah, he lived in the back.
So what's his address? Like where's the apartment?
He lives above the Source for Sports building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it the Source for Sports building that's on fire?
No, it was a couple buildings down. You could see it in the video. It's above by the barbershop Enzio's.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And there's a comic book store there as well, I believe.
It was right beside on the right-hand side. It was crazy. It was just nonstop this morning. It was freezing. It was like, yeah, it was nuts.
You know what? It's interesting because I can't imagine, somebody banging on your door and you're half asleep. You must be thinking, what the heck? Somebody's playing a prank.
Yeah, it was crazy because like the whole building was rattling, and the police were banging on the front door, and it was just like, wow, ran downstairs to see what was up, and there's fire hoses everywhere. There was the whole street was blocked off. It was pretty crazy. It was cold. It was freezing.
Yeah, it's so cold out today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us what they did with you once you got outside.
They just said they said just pack up all your stuff, evacuate the building. Yeah, just get out whatever's important.
Yeah. Just grab a bag and go.
Yeah, I just had my gym stuff, so that's all. It's
right. So how many people are in that building where your buddy lives?
There was two. There was him and another tenant.
Okay, so they were told to get out.
Yeah.
I imagine you must have seen other tenants around the area too that had been evacuated.
Yeah, my one
well.
buddy, he lives above Solo, and they said that they almost had to barge his door down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just the fire was spreading so crazy, chaotic.
It's amazing, in such early morning hours and such cold weather to imagine how the fire went up so fast.
Oh yeah, it was crazy because like as soon as the police got there, by the time we got downstairs, the flames were outrageous. Like the power lines were down, everything was in flames. You could see it on the TV. It's wild.
So is anybody panicking as far as tenants, people walking by?
Not really, because I think it was so early, but just I think the police wanted to rush everybody out of there and make sure everybody was safe and sound because it was pretty bad.
We'd heard that they actually called Sault Ste. Marie Transit and had a bus standing by for tenants to keep them warm.
Yep, there was a bus right across the road. They had, just keep everybody warm, figure out where everybody's going to go, what they're going to do so early, right, throughout the day.
I'm sure, too, they must want to keep track of everybody that they did get out. And did they tell you you have to stay put for a while and then let you go? How did that work?
They just took my name down and took our names and made sure everybody in attendance were safe in there and that everybody was out that belonged in those buildings.
So how long were you on the bus warming up?
I don't know, about 15 minutes. It was, yeah. My buddy had his car parked in the back, and so we went and grabbed it, and
Oh,
the power
yeah.
lines were down and stuff, so it was pretty nuts.
Boy,
Yeah, it
so
was a wild
scary.
time, yeah.
Absolutely. So do you feel like you were well taken care of in such a
Oh yeah,
tough situation?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a good experience. It wasn't panicky, and everybody was nice, friendly, calm, so it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And your buddy's apartment, what do you think's going to happen with that?
It's probably tons of smoke damage and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Did they have to go in and use water in your buddy's building?
Not that I know
No,
of.
just
Yeah.
smoke damage.
Yeah, I don't think it went that far yet.
Yeah, all those buildings are just like, if not
Oh, yeah.
attached, they're so close
Yeah,
together,
it's
right?
Like, yes, they're like right tight. It's
Yeah.
nuts. I just saw like the roof collapse on the building too.
Oh,
this
no.
morning. Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh, I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's such a shame.
Hopefully they got everybody out of there and
Yeah.
the pets and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
'cause
right.
it's, yeah.
And imagine the firefighters.
Oh yeah, props to
They're
them.
freezing, and they have
Yeah.
to be on the ball the whole time they're there.
I seen one dude. He had his all his stuff was frozen like solid.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, man, good job. Like,
Imagine you're using your hose and then
Yeah.
the water's splashing back on you and freezing.
couldn't even imagine.
It's got to be outrageous.
Yeah, like-
well, we're certainly glad that you are good and
Thank
you're
you.
all good and you're okay.
Appreciate it.
Please tell your buddy that we wish him all the best.
Oh,
And
I
thanks for
will.
coming in. I appreciate it.
thanks for having me.
Good to talk to you, Owen
too.
Martin. And now, on TV had their cameras, our cameras, down at the site. The flame has sort of subsided now. It is still smoldering, though. It seems like, just from a purely non-professional perspective, that the flame is now under control, but still lots of smoke, still some smoldering. So we went to talk to communications officer for City Police, Sonny Spina, and he had this to say to update us.
Tell what's going on behind you.
So at about 5:15 this morning, our officers responded to a call for service here on Queen Street, where fire services have been called regarding a large structure fire that had been going. Now that fire has been going for several hours now, while fire crews have been working at trying to bring it under control and extinguish it. During that time, our officers are controlling and limiting traffic to this area, pedestrian and motor vehicle traffic. So we're asking people to stay away to allow firefighters to safely be able to extinguish this fire. Once that's done, the Ontario Fire Marshal's office will be called in to assist with the investigation, and we'll start trying to sort out exactly what happened then.
And just to keep you updated, what we know so far, in the 200 block of Queen Street, across the street from the GFL Memorial Gardens, a huge fire, seemingly a business or a couple have caught fire as of about 5:15. Firefighters, police are still working on that. There was a huge evacuation because there are tenants above all the businesses along that area of Queen Street. They were taken out of the buildings. Nobody was injured at this point. We haven't heard any reports of anybody being hurt. They were loaded onto a waiting city transit bus to help them stay warm. This is obviously a very fluid situation, and we are asking you to stay tuned to On TV, and we will give you the very latest as soon as we get it.